280 people are declared bankrupt in the UK every day. That is about 4 double-decker buses full of people. And 1/4 of the UK population have no savings whatsoever. And do you know what an ISA is? Some of you know? Okay, cool. In a recent survey, 1 in 10 teenagers thought an ISA was an energy drink. And 1 in 20 teenagers thought it was an iPod accessory. To depress you even more, we do know that unemployment is decreasing very slowly, but we also know that during the summer months, 1,500 people were made redundant every day. How many double-decker buses do you think that is? How many can we fill? 3? More than 3? How many? More than 10. Did somebody say 20? Ooh, you get a ball. Sorry, that was a bad throw. It's actually 25. I have it written on my hand. I'll have another ball. Thank you. 25 double-decker buses full of people made redundant every day. And we know that young people are 3 times more likely than adults to be unemployed. So for all those depressing statistics, I decided to set up my bank with the support of UnLtd 6 years ago. And that first UnLtd grant, that £5,000, was probably one of my greatest achievements, and I still relish in the memory of that. So thank you, UnLtd. Today, we work to create a financially literate, enterprise-driven generation. We work with 11 to 25-year-olds. We deliver high-energy, high-impact enterprise and finance education programs. We work with young people who need us the most. So in schools, we do preventative work. We get young people to run their own banks. So I'm lucky enough to work with the youngest banker in the country. His name is Dante. He's 11 years old. He's an absolute inspiration. He runs a bank every week in his school with his friends. And they open the bank to their peers. And if you want to come visit, it's a pretty amazing sight. Their peers will queue, not for free cinema, which is what I did when I was a kid, or for free food. They will queue to deposit their pennies. 17p, £1.25, 73p. And these young people are so reassuring to see because they are future savers. They are those kind of adults that will actually have a pension when they get older, unlike a lot of us. And then we do work with those young people who don't have jobs, who are not currently in school, and who are looking for opportunities. And through our enterprise programs, through our interest-free loans, through our entrepreneurial journeys, they are given the confidence, the skill set to navigate the increasingly competitive world of work. We've worked with 75,000 young people. It's been an absolute privilege. We work with over 400 different youth organizations. We have franchise partners in various parts of the country, and we have international projects that range from Italy to Uganda. I love my job. And what I want to do is take a few steps back and think about why it is that even today, I still have that same delight when I think about my bank, even if it's in the middle of the night when my 1-year-old is up and awake and screaming and teething. I still feel delighted the next morning when I wake up and go to work. So I think there are 2 reasons why I set up my bank and why I still today love working at my bank, and I want to share those with you. The first is when I was a teenager, I was rather fidgety. I had a very low attention span, a little bit troublesome, and every day as a teenager I was losing more and more of my confidence because the classroom wasn't giving me everything that I needed. And so I survived by setting up projects, businesses and charities. At school it was the recycling group, then it was the first theatre production company. At university it was a youth group. And those projects gave me a sense of self, a sense of worth that I wasn't getting anywhere else. And today, I have the privilege of working with young people who, through our interest-free loans, set up their own projects. BJ is here today. Where are you, BJ? He's hiding at the back. BJ is one of the young entrepreneurs that we support. I'd say he's a serial entrepreneur. He's also an UnLtd award winner. And we support BJ to franchise one of his ideas, which is a tuck shop for schools. We also support lots of other young people, like Michelle, who was previously unemployed, didn't have much in terms of aspirations, and through one of our programs, Mind Your Own Business, started a range of customized t-shirts and sells them at the local market, and has pretty much turned her life around. So when I see people like that, I think that our programs are giving them a sense of self-worth, and that makes me happy and makes me love my job. And the second episode that I want to draw your attention to is a few years later, after university, I'm living in rural Bangladesh, and it's a fairly poor area, it's a very beautiful area, it's a heavily flooded area, and it's an area where I am spending time with women, mostly, who are taking out loans and who are taking part in saving schemes. And this is where I learned about microfinance, and where spending time with these women, I learned a lot of things about myself. So these women are amazing and still today provide me with huge amounts of inspiration when I think back to the time I spent with them. So why are they amazing? Because they were given very small loans, and they used these to turn their lives around, to create businesses, to purchase products and resell them, or to make products and sell them, and to afford a better life for themselves and their children. And the other thing the thing they did amazingly well was to manage their money in a way that I was surprised to see. So they had very little resources, but they managed them so effectively that they could plan ahead. So Lamia, for example, was poultry rearing. She had 12 chickens, lived with her in her home with her kids. And I don't exaggerate when I say her home was no bigger than the toilet that I just visited down here at the Google campus. But it was a really beautiful and well-kept home. And these chickens would lay eggs, and she would sell the eggs and make money for herself and her kids. And as you all know, chickens go through a lean period. In fact, I didn't know before I spent time with Lamia, but they do. And in that lean period, they don't hatch eggs. And what happens is that Lamia didn't have enough food to feed her family in those periods, so they would have one meal instead of 3. And I'd spend evenings talking to them, and I'd say, you know, Lamia, do you never get tempted to, just kill one of those chickens and eat it? And she was amazing. She was like, no, of course I don't, because that is my asset. That is my long-term asset. That chicken has a much greater value to me in the long term than it would have today if I ate it with my children. So I was amazed, and I felt really inadequate. I thought, bloody hell, I've spent so much money on my education, but never have I learned how to manage my assets. Never have I learned how to prioritize my needs over my wants. Never have I learned how to keep a family budget. And so I came back to the UK and I set up my bank. And today I work with amazing people who have stories similar to Lamia's. So Kavani, she's early 20s, young mother, and was in £10,000 debt. We helped her through our financial education programs, and today she has control over her debt. She's prioritized it, she pays it back regularly, and she's able to buy nappies. That's transformative. So that's why I love my job. And the last thing I want to do is look forward, because we've just looked back. So if I look forward, I'd know that my daughter was 1 last week, and that this one is born soon, which is why I'm talking so slowly, because I'm running out of breath. And I know that their life expectancy is 100. And that fills me with a sense of excitement and joy, and by God, I hope I'm around for a lot of it. But it also gives me a sense of perplexity. I think, okay, they're going to live till 100. We're struggling to find enough jobs for the people that are alive today, for the people that are going to retire at 65. What are we going to do to serve a population of people that are going to have to work right up until they're 80 and 90? And I think, how are we going to pay for their pensions? How are we going to pay for their health care? And I know that we need to create 600 million jobs to sustain the labor market as it is today and over the next 10 years. So I look at this complex situation, and I think we need to transform the world. But I look at it in the way that I've always looked at things since the day I started my bank. And that is in the lens, using a Chinese proverb that I actually found. You won't believe this, it sounds very cheesy, it's absolutely true. The first day I set up my bank, I went to a Chinese restaurant with some friends, one of the rare restaurants where they have fortune cookies, snapped it open, and this proverb comes out. It's still in my desk today. It says, I don't know the solution, but I admire the problem. And it is with that attitude, with that level of admiration, as opposed to fear or inertia, that I have tackled all the problems that I have seen ahead of me. And I would like to leave you with this thought. Let's look at the future of the world, the need to create opportunities for the next generation with a sense of admiration rather than a sense of fear. Thank you.